as we begin settling the body, calming the mind. We can notice what arises and comes to the sense doors. Hearing is often one of the most obvious. Wherever we are sitting, there may be sounds that are noticed from far away and close up, without having an opinion about them. Stopping the contact, letting the contact just come to the sense organ without adding other stories and preferences around it. The purity of the practice is the conditions arising that come to us through each of our senses. And there's the door of taste. Just noticing without grasping or clinging. In this particular instance, we just are sitting with our eyes gently relaxed and perhaps closed, our mouth and jaw gently relaxed. There could be taste there. We receive information through the door of the nose. And then there's touching. We have a lot of places that we notice touching. Where the eyelids rest. Where the lips touch. Where the arms might be touching the body. Where the hands touch each other or whatever else they're touching. We just notice sensations there, bringing ourselves into the body. Or the buttocks is seated on the chair or the cushion or however you're seated. Maybe you feel the backs of your legs touching the surface. And in these places, we can notice other sensations of warmth or coolness. There might be tingling. There are all kinds of adjectives we can use as gentle notes to be really present in this moment of experience as sensations arise and pass away. Being with the sensation, having curiosity. Which keeps us in the present moment. The other sense door is the door of the mind, the thought door. And just like sensations come to the ears and the eyes and the nose and touching, thoughts come to the mind. And as we have mindfulness at the fore and awareness with it, we can be present for what arises at any of these sense doors, the way in which we create our reality. Every single one of us different, depending on how we perceive what happens at our sense doors. And so in this practice, we want to be present in a neutral way of letting mindfulness see clearly what's arising and passing, and that it's impermanent. And whatever we use as a gentle anchor, if we find ourselves roaming off in thoughts about the past and the future, we can bring ourselves back to that touch point, whichever one seems predominant, or to the sensation of the breath in the body as an anchor. This using of an anchor, the breath, or a touch point is just a way to bring us to the present. But the end result of our practice is not about our breathing or our touch point or our hearing. It's about seeing clearly skillful and unskillful thoughts that might arise. Seeing really the effervescent, the disappearing of what's arising and even the end point. So we have the opportunity to notice beginning, middle, and end. And we can do that fairly clearly with the breath. And as we keep focus there, whether it's a single point at the nostrils or a broader area at the diaphragm, or whether we are feeling the breath throughout the entire body or different places in the body, it gives us a way of being able to touch from time to time upon some of the places that might be difficult to touch upon. If there's pain in the body, discomfort in the mind, we can let the breath touch upon it. And we may be able to notice, oh, this is not permanent. It doesn't just stay here in this one place. We can see these ideas of wanting in the mind, grasping and clinging at something or pushing things away. We can see them arise and pass away. Or we can investigate gently with the breath a place in the body that's calling our attention. So we hold ourselves gently and with compassion as we are present with what's happening. If we have the neutrality of mindfulness and awareness over and over again, mindful moments connected to each other, we can just notice the experience arising moment after moment after moment. Just the natural experience that arises, whether we see it as good or bad. It all can be interesting. We can arouse curiosity. What is happening right now? Without controlling our experience. We're building our awareness of what is. Sometimes we can use the breath if we notice that there's agitation or anxiety or restlessness in the mind. We can take long breaths. Or if once we find our bodies settling and our minds relaxing a little, we may fall back into sloth and torpor, sleepiness, tiredness. We can take faster breaths, more energetic breaths, to keep ourselves interested, to let ourselves really be comfortable in the breath, the body of the breath, beginning, middle, and end, wherever we notice it, and the breath and the body, the entire body filled with breath. Without attachment, without clinging. Actually noticing joy, being in the present moment, noticing the arising and passing away of the breath wherever we feel it. It's subtle. But as Sister Ayya Khema says, contentment has only one resting place, and that's within one's own heart. We're finding that resting place within our own hearts. Finding ease, being at ease. Giving ourselves goodwill and kindness. Cultivating this field of harmony. As we notice clearly what arises, embracing fully, touching gently, sometimes difficult emotions or thoughts arise, or challenging sensations in the body arise. But we have the tool of mindful awareness and the curiosity of investigation. To not fall into complete involvement in what's happening, but to look at it with curiosity. What does it feel like right now? Does it stay there or does it move? Arising and passing away, all conditioned things arising at their own due to conditions, staying for a certain amount of time for which we hope to be observant, and passing away. If we find our hearts and minds flitting from place to place, we can just remind ourselves to come back to the present moment. What is happening? What is the attitude of the heart and the mind right now? Every moment that we spend on the training of our hearts is valuable, and it brings us a step further along in the path of purification. Cultivation toward non-harming, non-greed, and non-delusion. Letting ourselves rest at ease in the body of the breath, in our bodies with the breath. Holding ourselves gently. Being at ease. Cultivating kindness and compassion. Seeing clearly with curiosity and investigation. And really seeing clearly that wisdom arises and can help guide our hearts toward the skillful, toward what's useful for us, and letting go and seeing the dropping away of what's unhelpful. In this time of our sitting practice, we just begin again, finding the present moment, feeling the breath in the body, taking a purposeful breath to return to right here and right now, attending to what's predominant with mindful awareness. And really noticing that each moment we wake up in this very moment, it's a moment of freedom from suffering. There's non-attachment and non-clinging, non-identification with the self. Present, open, it's nature, whatever's arising and passing. Training our hearts to see clearly, to embrace kindness and goodwill. Breath by breath, moment by moment. Holding ourselves in kindness and compassion. And letting some of this development of goodwill that we generate within our hearts include others. One of the other quotes from Sister Ayya Khema's book on visible here and now, she says, in reality, love fills only the person who loves. If we understand love as a quality of the heart, just as intelligence is a quality of the mind, then we won't deal with love as people customarily do. As a rule, we divide our hearts into different compartments for lovable, neutral, and unlovable people. With that sort of divided heart, there's no way we can feel good. We can be whole only with a heart united in love. Every moment we spend on the training of our hearts is valuable and brings us a step further along the path of purification. True love exists when the heart is so broadly trained that it can embrace all human beings and all living creatures. This requires a learning process that is sometimes hard, above all when someone turns out to be very unfriendly or unpleasant. But this capacity for kindness can be reached by everyone because we all have the capacity for love within us. And so we continue cultivating this sense of kindness and openness for ourselves and for others. And calling upon this goodwill. May we feel this cauldron of our bodies, hearts, and minds embracing another, someone for whom it's easy to have kindness, easy to send goodwill, feeling their presence within us, letting this kindness that we generate include them. Maybe it's a close friend, maybe it's a benefactor, a teacher, the first person who brought us to the Dharma. Just as I wish to be happy, I know that all beings wish to be happy. And so we develop this emotion of metta, of kindness. We develop compassion. We can find sympathetic joy for other people's happiness. And we develop equanimity. As we open ourselves to others around us. Those in joy and those in sorrow. Those who are unenlightened and those enlightened beings. All those beings who swim and fly and crawl and walk. Those with legs and those without legs. Beings underwater, beings above the earth. May all beings everywhere have ease and well-being, be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Anicca vata sankhara upadavaya domino upakitava meruchanti te samvapasamo sukho. All conditioned things are subject to impermanence. They arise and pass away. And seeing this clearly with mindfulness brings the greatest happiness, which is peace. Thank you for your practice. May it bring you joy. May you touch upon ease throughout your day. May you really embrace that the merit of our practice benefits all beings, even if it might have been tumultuous or calm, however it is. Just taking this time to practice is of great benefit to ourselves and others, and it brings each other joy as well. Thank you so much for your practice.